All right. Good evening. How's everybody doing? I'm just waiting for my mic to get unmuted. Welcome to the Real Money Coach Show here live on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. I'm your host, Tony Jackson. Thank you for tuning in. We are looking for a great show tonight. And Charles jumped ahead of me already. You know what to do in the chat. Put where you're watching from. Look, Charles is from California. He says, I'm tuned in. I'm locked into the Real Money Coach Show. So he is here. So let us know where you are watching from. Now, I really don't know what it's going to be like because this is, trick-or-treaters out and all that kind of stuff. So if you hear the doorbell ringing, that's going to be my excuse to go grab some candy out that bucket and come back. Okay. So I'm just letting you know right now, it ain't going to be much candy left in the Jackson household after tonight. So we are excited about the show tonight. And I will talk a little bit more about that in a second or two of kind of how this whole show kind of developed and the idea came about. And so we'll do that shortly. For now, I want to just kind of make you aware of a couple different events that are going to be coming up here rather soon. So let me first tell you about one. I don't have a flyer or anything for this, but if you are interested in attending, feel free to do that. On tomorrow evening at 8 p.m., we will be having a Zoom where we will be focusing in on wills, trust, even foundations, estate planning. I will have attorney on Amy Griffin from Life and Legacy Counselors. Amy has a wonderful firm of actually Black female attorneys in the DC area, but they're very, very good at what they do. So that is just going to be on my regular Zoom account, TonyJacksonZoom.com. There's no charge. It's free. We'll start at 8 o'clock. Just going to have a conversation. We're doing that in the format of Zoom. Thank you, Alice Martin, for being here. We're doing that in terms of doing it as a Zoom because by doing it as Zoom, you can ask questions. We can make it interactive and all those type of things. And you guys, excuse me, there's someone trying to get in. Let me let them in. All right, there we go. So, so we will be having that discussion and being able to ask Amy questions, that type of thing. I'm doing this for a particular group of clients that requested it, but I'm opening it up to everyone. So again, that is tomorrow night, Wednesday, November 1st at 8 p.m. Eastern time, Tony Jackson Zoom. Come in, join the conversation if you would like to do that and be able to ask Amy any questions that she might have. And I've had Amy on the show before. I've had Shannon Wright, goes to church with me. I've had him on talking about the issue of wills and trust and that type of thing, because I do think it's very, very important that we get that part taken care of. So wanted to mention that. And the other thing, on Sunday evening, I've been attending this men's gathering on Zoom for a few months now. And this week, I think it's first Sunday. It's first Sunday of each month. And again, it's at 8 p.m. Eastern time. And this month, we're actually going to be having Michael V. Roberts. So Dr. Michael Roberts will be the guest speaker for that event. There's the flyer. And Michael, Dr. Roberts, and his brother Stephen combined are billionaires. They own, as you can see, over the years, 76 different companies, 12 TV stations, 13 hotels, and about $5 million or 5 million square feet of real estate, over 11,000 employees. Dr. Roberts, he also owns radio stations as well. And so Dr. Roberts will be sharing. The name of this particular group is Building Up Family, and really is designed for men to get together, have a conversation, um, and just talk about that. The link is right there on the flyer. So it is UNC. Our host is a professor at UNC, zoom.us. And I will post this flyer both on my Facebook and also inside of the Real Money Coach community as well. Just a great conversation. We just get together and we just talk about, Christian guys get together. We talk about issues related to men, right? And so let me do this. I got a couple more shout outs I need to do here. I got Lisa Conley, Fonville. She's in the what do they call it, St. Louis? The archway to the south, right? The gateway to the south. And so she's from New Jersey. Thank you for being here. And I do believe I saw that Miss Jackson, your friend, has a birthday. Want to give a shout out to her. And then we have Timothy Day from Durham, North Carolina, is in the house as well. And so thank you all for being here. Those, we know that there's more watching, but y'all ain't putting in the chat where you're watching from. So I love it when you do that because it lets me know that you can hear me and everything is good. So I appreciate that. And the other thing that will take place, so that's Sunday evening at 8 p.m. with Dr. Roberts. And then on a week from tomorrow, which is the 8th of November, we will be doing another webinar. This webinar will be the truth behind mortgage protection. And, the reason why we decided to do this combined with some realtors, Sean Langston, is because there's a lot of misconception about mortgage protection, such as PMI. A lot of people think PMI protects them. Really, it protects the bank. And then there's also, what if something happens to you, sickness, or something happens to you, like death, those type of things. Are you really protected? And we're going to talk about that. And not only are we going to talk about using it to protect you in case of something happens and you need your mortgage paid, but also using it as a way to pay your mortgage off early. If anybody's interested in paying their mortgage off 5-10 years early, this is a great program. We're going to walk through how the mortgage protection program can protect you in the event of the sickness and death, but also if you live, and we want you all to live, how you can then use that policy to actually pay off your house and save yourself 5-10 years worth of payments. So that's all going to be part of that webinar. The registration for that one is mymortgageprotection.net. So register at mymortgageprotection.net. Tell your family, your friends, mama and them, your sister, your brother, come get this free information. So that is my quick announcements. I guess it wasn't all that quick, but it was my announcements. And thank you very much. At this time, we have got to bring on the co-host with the mostest, and that is M Squared, Michelle Mitchell. What's going on, Michelle?
Not much, Tony. How you doing?
Good. I just gave you a new name.
I see that.
M Squared, right? M Squared. M by
Okay.
the M, right?
That's right.
How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Good. Michelle, I ran through my announcements, and I know you have a couple things that you're going to be involved in. Why don't you share those real quick?
Yes, tomorrow I'm going to be live on a podcast. I forgot what it's called, and I'll be talking about just being a CEO of your business, and the money matters in your business. So I'll be talking about that. It's the Business Made Simple podcast.
Business
And
Made Simple. Love it.
yes, and we'll be talking about scaling secrets from growth pros. I guess I'm considered a growth pro now. And so that's tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern. And Join me. You just click on the link and sign up. Join me is free. And then I'll also be participating in the own your future summit, where there be like
Mm,
17 different people speaking about various things about owning your future. So the market is high net worth seat professionals in, they have a job, an employment job, and they're looking to become entrepreneurs.
okay.
So they're trying to learn some secrets about being an entrepreneur, basically.
Well,
Um,
and that can be a big leap,
yeah,
especially if you're a high wage
hi-
earner,
high
high,
wage earner. Hmm.
and you think about someone who's making six figures,
Right,
maybe even more, right?
right.
And you're gonna say, I'm gonna walk away from that
Yeah,
with my own gig, right?
right, right.
Yeah, it got to be a little bit of faith.
A little
Yeah, a
bit.
little bit of faith. But
Yeah,
what I love is what you said when Dr. Robin was on the show a few weeks ago. You said if you make the first step, God will
yeah,
raise the floor to meet your foot. Right.
absolutely. Yeah,
So, and we've heard that, we heard King say, faith is making the first step, even when you
yeah.
don't see the staircase. But when you said that if you make the first step, God will raise the floor to meet your foot.
That's right.
Oh my God. That's a whole nother level of faith, right? And
It
it's
it
just
is,
like,
but
I
you
love
have
that.
to be in action in order for faith to do its job.
Right, right.
So you gotta
Because
start
the
taking
word
the
the word is
steps.
simple, right? The
Yeah,
word, it all goes back to the word. The word
yes,
says that faith without works is
it's dead.
dead, right? So we
Yeah.
can have all the faith in the world, but if we're sitting at home doing
Mhm.
nothing, um, I
Yeah,
don't know that God is going to open up a
you
hole in the roof of my house and drop me,
right.
or whatever. Now
You
He
have to.
can do it. He
Yeah,
can do it.
he can.
He can, but
Mhm.
we have to take some steps. So
Yeah,
we have to
we
do those
have to
steps. So I love that.
activate it, and
Activate it. Activate it.
that's what that
Right.
is. Yeah.
And of course, it reminds me of my little country upbringing, right? Out the country.
Yeah.
We had, and I told this story before. We had natural spring water running through our property,
Mhm.
and we had a hand pump, and that was the best, coldest water coming out of that hand pump. But guess what?
Yeah.
There's two things that had to happen.
Mhm.
Someone had to pour the water in the pump to prime it, and then
Prime it.
someone had to pump it in
Mhm.
order for the water to come out.
Right.
And so, it takes action. It
It
takes
takes
faith
action.
and it takes
Mhm.
action and that type of thing. So I love that. Now you
Mhm.
have something else coming up. Did you mentioned that too, right?
Yeah,
The
on Friday.
On
Yeah.
Friday.
Well,
Okay.
actually, it's a 2-day summit, so it's Thursday and Friday, but I'll be speaking on Friday
Got
at
it.
11 a.m. Eastern.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. So the other thing is you went away and you did
I
a
did.
little planning retreat.
I
So
did.
how did your business planning retreat go?
Oh my god. You know what? Just to get away from your normal everyday routine and put yourself in a different environment, and then you have someone else um prompting you with questions so that you
Mm.
can reflect on what you have done. It's very powerful.
Oh, I bet. I
Yeah.
bet.
And it allowed for space for you to figure out, did that work or did that not work?
Where I really it almost like defending
Yes. Mhm.
your plan,
Yes.
defending your where you are. So that's good.
Yes. So we went really wide and then we kept narrowing down until you come up with like your top 5 things that if you do, it will move the needle for your business. And then they narrow it down to 3. So then you only get 3 objectives that you're going to execute for the whole entire year. And you set your milestones and you
Mm,
set your metrics to measure how well it's going.
that's pretty good. Now,
Yeah.
in your cohort that went through this, was it all for-profit businesses or did you have nonprofits in there as well?
It was all for profits and we were all accountants.
Mm.
doing a lot of different things under the accounting umbrella.
Under that umbrella. That's
Yes.
cool. That's great.
Yeah.
So, just planning is important. A
Mhm.
couple of things. I do want to mention this. I saw it on the screen, y'all. I went and voted today. And so
Oh,
y'all get
good.
our early voting done, right? There was more workers than voters in the building. Okay. So this is the perfect time to go. We had our pick of who we wanted.
Right.
Which booth you want, Lisa? I want
Right.
this one. Okay. So it was plenty of space in there. We have become a fan of early voting. We've become
Guess
a
what I'm a fan of?
what's that?
Getting
Vote.
my ballot in the mail.
We don't get no mail in ballots though.
We get mail-in ballots. I already have my ballot. Everybody in my house has their ballot.
Well, do your vote. Do your vote.
I'm
That's the
gonna
important
send my
thing.
vote back in
You're gonna
because
send it back
I'm
in.
not missing a vote now that it comes to me.
There, that's good. Now is Gretchen up for a vote?
No,
No.
she just got in like the
Okay.
last time we voted. Yeah.
Okay. So she's got a new term. Okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
Gretchen is
The governor.
the governor of Michigan.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, I did cast my vote. I recommend that you all do it. Make sure you go out and vote.
Yes.
Michelle, since we were together, just real quickly, I mean, I've had a wonderful, wonderful time, right? And
You've been
in
busy.
business and in pleasure, right?
Yay.
So, so I last Friday evening and Saturday, I spoke and did a workshop at the All
Mhm.
Black National Conference in Atlanta, Dr. Boyce Watkins Conference. And I know there may be people who are watching this that were there. Thank you all for showing up,
It's
right?
standing room only in your session. I saw that.
Standing room only. I wanted,
They
I
were
said, I
outside
wanted
the door.
outside the door.
Yeah.
Now I counted the chairs, right? So before it started, I set up. Let me see how many chairs in here. There were 60 chairs,
Really?
and every chair was full. People were standing along the wall, and people were listening
Mm,
in the hallway.
in the hallway.
In the hallway,
Crazy.
and what a blessing! Sold a lot of books. A lot of
Nice.
people schedule appointments, and so I really, truly, truly blessed. Of course, I got a chance to talk and hang out with Dr. Boyce Watkins a little bit. And of course, George Frazier was there,
Mhm.
and so my homies, right? They were all
Yes.
there. We had a good time,
Nice.
and then I immediately after my workshop, an hour or so after that, drove back from Atlanta so that Lisa and I could be on at the airport at 7 o'clock on Sunday morning.
Ooh.
And then we flew
Did
to
y'all make your
Naples.
flight?
Huh?
Did you make your
Oh, we
flight?
was there early, girl.
Oh,
Come on.
what?
Yeah, we didn't even have to run through the airport. What you talking
Okay.
about? So, but it was a beautiful property, and First Financial Security just took such good care of us.
Mhm.
Um, and so that's one of the things that I love about that is, and I've been on 16 of these type of trips over the years. I mean, you've known us.
Yes.
We've had a chance to travel the world, but the property was beautiful. They did something different this time though, Michelle.
What's that?
We had a meeting every day.
What?
Yes, we had a meeting every day. It was the first time it was 2.5 hours, and the rest of them were an hour.
Mhm.
But the reason they did it this time is so that they didn't have to 1099 us for the cost of the trip. So yeah,
Yay.
we had a meeting every day, so that was well worth it.
Yeah.
We had a good time. The meetings were good. We got a chance to hang out with Pastor Sean Weaver and Kim Weaver.
Mhm.
They made the trip as well.
Oh, nice.
And so yeah, we had a great time. We had a great time.
Good.
So looking forward to the next one. Looking forward
Yes.
to the next one. So
So new goals, right?
new goals, new
Yeah.
goals. So all that great stuff. Well, let me tell you, I gotta move on. I'm chatting away, and
I
you can tell
know.
that I haven't been here in a week, right?
Right.
So I went to this. I was invited by one of our church members, uh, Deb, Deb, Minister Deb, Elder Deb, and she said, "Hey, I would like for you to come and sit at my table at this men's breakfast."
Mhm.
And it was for one of the ministries at church, and one of the keynote speakers was a client as well, and that's Tony Porter, and his organization is called A Call to Men. Have a lot of respect. I knew what they did, and even though this ministry was part of our church, and technically I'm one of the coaches for that, I never really knew what they did. Right, I
Mhm.
understood some of it, but and I went to this meeting, Michelle, this breakfast meeting. It's men's breakfast. We have like former NFL players and, people there and all this. And it was a call to men and Beauty for Ashes. And Beauty
Mm.
for Ashes. And the whole premises of the breakfast was to bring awareness to domestic violence.
Mhm.
And I did not know until that point that October was not only breast cancer awareness, which we give a shout out to
Mhm.
that, all the survivors, all the people who are even dealing with it now. Go have your annual exam, do what you're
Yeah.
supposed to do because we need you here. But it's also Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and
Mhm.
so I learned that, heard some of the stories, both from men and women, right, on both sides of it. Those who witnessed it as children, those who experienced it as a victim, and I was just blown away. And there's sometimes when you know about something and you even know people who maybe have dealt with it, but sometimes God allows something to happen that just kind of pricks you. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? And that's the experience it was for me. And so immediately at that breakfast, I told the founder, which is our guest tonight, Reverend Marguerite Lee, that I wanted to do what I could, what I know, to
Yeah.
bring awareness to it. And that was to have her on the radio show and have her come here tonight. I felt like that was what I could do for my part in terms of supporting um, the to stop domestic violence.
Yes.
And so that's what we're going to have a conversation about tonight.
Okay.
And right before I do bring on Reverend Marguerite Lee, I do want to also give a shout out because I see Dr. Bonita Harris is here. And I want to give a shout out to Ruth Bell, Dr. Bonita's mother. I'm sorry I was out when you had your birthday party, but I just wanted to give a shout out. Michelle, they're here every week, right?
Every
They're
week.
here,
Yeah.
Ruth Bell and Dr. Bonita Harris, Alice Martin,
Yes.
and others. They're here each and every week, and so I just wanted to give a shout out to Ruth Bell. If she's out, I know she's a campaign volunteer worker. She may
Mm.
not even be at home, but if she's not, Dr. Benita Harris, please tell her that Michelle and I said happy
Yes.
birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. So with that, let's bring on Reverend Marguerite Lee.
Welcome.
Thank
Hey,
you. Hello.
hello, Reverend Marguerite. How you doing today?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Good, good.
Good.
So, Reverend Marguerite and I go to, for those who don't know, we go to Mount Carmel Baptist Church together. We were both ministers there. And she's the sweetest spirit, right? Um, and so kind, one of the kindest people that I know. Um, so, Reverend Marguerite, what I didn't know until you came on the show, Michelle, we got another multi-degreed person here. I mean,
Really?
yes. When I read her bio, Reverend Marguerite has a master's in early childhood development, if I
Okay.
got that right. She's got a MDiv, a master's of divinity. And I
Mhm.
always tell people all the time, that's 96 credit hours. That ain't no regular master's, right?
Right. Yeah.
So she's got that. And she also has a master in Christian counseling. Oh, shout out to Cynthia Day.
Wow.
Hello, Cynthia. Thank you for being
Hey,
here.
Cynthia.
So she believes in education. I mean,
Absolutely.
she like you. She's got all
Like
these
me.
master's degrees. See, I figured there's just enough master's degrees around me. I might not need one. I
Right.
got plenty that I could call on. So,
I know.
uh, but much respect for that. And Kimberly McGlynn, thank you for being here as well. So, Reverend Marguerite, I let out the cat, let out about your degrees, But why don't you tell the audience tonight a little bit more about you, and then we can get into a little bit of, Beauty for Ashes, and then, the type of things that you guys do, and more importantly, even why.
Hmm.
I am originally from Virginia, and I came here to attend Johnson C. Smith University.
Hmm.
And for some reason, I stayed. I knew I didn't want to go back home to live and didn't know where else I wanted to go. So Charlotte became my home. I started teaching. I taught in Charlotte Mecklenburg school system for 30 years
Wow.
in early childhood. Most of those years,
Right, right.
Because
okay,
everybody
Michelle,
can't do that.
Yeah.
most of those years I spent
Including me, right?
teaching
Right.
kindergarten.
Hey, I
But
love my
see,
grandkids,
Right.
but
that's all right though. But there are some things that you can do and you can do that I can't do.
That
So
is true. That is true.
God made us all different. So,
Hmm.
and we're all needed.
Yes.
Yeah.
absolutely.
But I loved working with the young children and spent 30 years doing that and then retired. Before I retired, I went to seminary. About 3 years before I retired, I entered seminary. So did that on the weekend and at night, which was a challenge, but by the grace of God, I made it through. I am a mother of one adult son. I love to read. I love to dabble at writing a little bit and a little bit of art. Um, love plays. And what else can I say about myself? I love to eat. I don't necessarily like to cook the food. I mean, I do cook, but I don't call myself a cook. But I do love to eat.
Yes. Dante is amazing.
He is, and if that was popcorn, yeah, I love popcorn.
Yeah, you love popcorn too. Yeah.
Yes, yes,
Tony's
yes.
having some problems. I see. I don't know what he do. You're
Yeah,
muted, honey.
he's muted. He
Mhm.
is, yes.
No, sir. You're unmuted now.
Okay. We're having
Okay.
some
Yeah.
internet issues.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I'm a little bit slow. So
Oh, okay.
okay, y'all go ahead.
Anyway, she liked to eat.
I know
And me
and
too.
I had asked, like,
Yes.
what's your favorite restaurant in Charlotte? Was
Oh,
that
yes, that's good
question.
to know. Because I love coming to Charlotte. And me and my husband, we kind of like going to new places to eat. So, what's your favorite?
Can't say I love seafood, so anywhere
Me
that serves
too.
seafood. You love
Yeah,
seafood as
I
well?
do. Yeah.
Okay.
I did discover a couple new seafood spots though.
Really?
Roosters. I like roosters.
Okay.
And there's one down here on the lake, right down the Papa Doc's that we got to go to,
Okay.
right on Lake Wiley.
On Lake
So
Wiley? Yeah.
yeah, I know we all off the topic. Roosters has the best oysters. Oh, they're delicious.
Really?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. Sorry for the disruption.
Gosh. But that's just a little bit about me. Oh, and one other thing, I love working with hurting people. And
Mm,
that's one thing that brought me to where I am with the ministry.
mm,
Um, I can remember even when I was teaching early education, even in kindergarten, I had students that would come in. And even then, when I think about it, I was dealing with domestic violence because some of the children that came in were
mhm,
living in homes where that was present.
mhm.
And before I could teach them the ABCs, one, two, threes, I had to deal
Yeah.
with what they dealt with the night before.
Mm,
And even during parent teacher conferences, the mothers would come in and we end up talking about their issues. So that just dawned on me.
Hmm.
Even before I professionally got into the arena, I
mm.
was dealing with it way back then.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So
Wow.
you've kind of always had a heart for it, for the victims and what they're going through. So tell us a little bit about how did Beauty for Ashes, how did it start? And you can even, talk a little bit about the scripture reference, but how did the whole thing get started?
Okay. Uh, It was a vision from God, and He gave me the name and the scripture, Isaiah 61, verses 1 through 4. It talks about being anointed to preach the good news to the poor, open up prisons for those who are bound. And when I can remember going to my pastor and talking to him about this vision and the scripture, and he asked me if I thought I was being called to prison ministry
Mm.
and suggested that I go back and pray about it and have some more conversation with God about it. And I did. And then I went back to him and I said to him, yes, it is prison ministry. However, it's not the traditional prison that you may be thinking
Mm,
about,
Mm.
because domestic violence is a form of prison.
Mm.
And the victim is treated like an inmate,
Mm.
with
mm,
the abuser taking on the role of a prison warden.
Mhm.
And so we had that conversation. I said yes. And I thought about that scripture and talking about opening the prison for those who are bound. When people are in an abusive relationship, they do feel bound and they do feel like they are in prison because they can't do what they want to do. They don't feel that they have the freedom to go when they want to go, where they want to go, talk to who they want to talk to. And so it is a form of emotional, mental, spiritual
Mm.
prison.
mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty deep. And how and I learned some of these, but I'm just kind of asking some of these questions for our audience to bring awareness. How prevalent is domestic violence, both for male and female?
Mm.
One in every four women have been impacted by violence, domestic violence, and one in every seven men have been impacted.
Mm.
And from the age of 18 to 24 in women, um, those are the ones who are most likely to be victimized.
Mm,
Ages 18 to 24 are at
Mhm.
the highest risk of being victims of domestic violence.
Mm.
so that's interesting. Do you think is it that at some point, you kind of have, you think age 24, if you've been a victim for, 5, 6 years, that at some point you just kind of like find a way or escape from it, or, you think that's why it's the younger ages, or is there, I imagine there's a lot of shame involved and all these type of things too that kind of keep them in that situation.
Mhm.
There is a lot of shame involved, Tony. You're correct about that. And the thing of it is, that's the most that age range is at the most risk. But when you get to, let's see, 35, 24, 18 to 24, most at risk. And then that next age range um, is the next highest. But then when you get to that next age range, it's most repeated.
Mm,
Mm,
And there is a lot of shame in it. And sometimes because people have grown up in that kind of situation,
mm.
and that's all that they
That they
know,
know. Hmm.
mm.
They
it
repeat it.
becomes normal to them.
Hmm.
It becomes
And if
normalized
that's,
behavior.
I'm
Yes.
sorry.
Yeah, normalized behavior. They
Yes,
normalize it. Yeah.
yes, exactly. Normalized behavior. And you think this is the way it's supposed to be. This is all that I know.
Mm-hmm.
And until we teach men and women, boys and girls, what healthy relationships look like, some
Hmm.
of them don't know any better.
Yeah.
And that was interesting. One of the ladies at the breakfast was talking about that she'd been in a abusive, domestic violence, and then she was out of that, and she remarried. Right, she was remarried, and they would argue, and her new husband wouldn't hit her or wouldn't argue with her, and she felt like he don't love me, he don't
Mm,
even care enough, and it's just just that psychological um and mental emotional damage that is caused, that are the scars that we don't see.
right.
Correct. And I have to admit that I am a survivor of emotional abuse. And you're correct about the scars that are not seen.
Mm-hmm.
I've worked with women who were in abusive relationships where there wasn't physical abuse, there was emotional
Emotional.
abuse.
Hmm.
Yes, and it's just as damaging
Hmm.
because, like you say, you can't see those scars. It's
Mm-hmm.
easy to see the black eye, it's easy to see the broken arm, it's easy to see the black and blue marks on somebody. So, a lot of times people think that the only kind of abuse is physical abuse. And I've even worked with women who weren't even aware that they were being abused because they weren't physically abused.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
And you ask them, are you being abused? No, 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 no. He's never hit me.
Mm. But can you
But
move around freely?
exactly,
Hmm.
exactly. Are you allowed to go where you want to go? Are you
Mm-hmm.
allowed to say what you want to say?
Mm-hmm.
Can you have the friends that you want to have? And the answer is no, because one of the tactics of an abuser is to isolate the person
Mm-hmm.
from friends and from family.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and it's a heavy topic. And I was doing a little research on it, and found that it was something like, I think I found it like 60% uh, often lose their jobs because of the missed time from work. I can't go to work with the black eye, or even sometimes the abuser showing up at the job.
Mm-hmm.
And so the financial impact of it too, and that's another thing. In my research, as I was looking at it, is sometimes, a lot of times it's, not having access to money, not, there's a whole financial abuse that happens as well, or economic abuses too.
That's true. While in the relationship, as well as when they manage to get out or escape,
Mm,
because once they're out of the relationship, it's not over.
mm,
A lot of women are still being economically abused or financially abused because they're having to deal with so many expenses in the court,
mm,
Mm,
trying to find legal help, and that's expensive, or
mm,
trying to find legal help to help them hold on to their children. So
mm,
it doesn't end when the person leaves. And that's another thing that I want to touch on tonight. A lot of people will say to a victim, why don't you just leave? And it's not that simple. It goes back to what I was saying about a prison. Prisoners don't just walk out of prison,
right.
they escape.
mm,
And that's what the person who's in an abusive relationship has to do. That's where safety planning comes in. And they have to plan to get out of that
Mhm,
situation. And the thing that people need to know and remember is that when they leave, that's the most dangerous time for them.
mhm,
And if
mm,
you, when we listen to the stories on TV, we hear
mhm,
that estranged husband or ex-boyfriend has done damage to the person. If it's not murder, it's other forms of damage to them, physical
mhm,
damage, because they left. And that's the most dangerous time for the person. So it's not a matter of just up and leaving, although there have been some people who have been blessed and have been able to walk out. But it's not that easy in most cases. And so it's important when we're working with abused women or men, because men are abused as well.
mhm,
But when we're working with a person involved in domestic violence, it's important to establish a safety plan for them. And that safety plan has to be something that they have a part in developing. A safety plan if they're going to stay, because they may not be ready to leave for whatever reason. So they need to know how to be safe if they're going to stay in that relationship. And
mhm.
then they need to know how to safely get out when and if they're ready to do that.
mm.
So what role does Beauty for Ashes play? What some of the things that you guys do, your organization, your ministry, what do you do to help the victims? What kind of what is your role?
Safety planning is one when someone calls and they're still in a situation, in an abusive situation, and they may not be, like I said, they may not be ready to leave for whatever reason. We help them with a safety plan, tell them, help them to devise a plan to make sure that they're doing what they can to be safe, as safe as possible in that relationship. Or if they're ready to leave, then we talk about things that they can do to leave as safe as possible. What kind of documents do you need to be sure to take with you? Those important papers, insurance papers, children's documentations, all of those things that they will need if they leave the situation. Who can they go to?
Mhm,
Is there a family member or a good friend that they can confide in to let them know that, hey, I'm planning to leave and I need help in doing that? They can't just tell anybody, and sometimes they can't
mhm,
tell anybody.
mhm,
So we
Mhm.
help them with a safety plan. We also do faith-based counseling. Beauty for Ashes has a project that we call Meet Me at the Well. Every second Tuesday of the month, we have a call in, it's a prayer call, where domestic violence survivors can call in for prayer and words of encouragement. And most of the women that do the words of encouragement are survivors themselves. So they can relate to the ones that are calling in because they've been there.
Mhm.
We also have a support group that we do online, Sisters Offering Support. Again, they're getting support and encouragement from others. They're having time to spend time talking to other survivors that are going through what they're going through. So, a lot of times when you're going through a situation, you feel like you're the only one that's going through it.
Mhm.
And so it's comforting to know, hey, I'm not the only one that's going through this. Sister Mary is going through it. And when she says, I understand what you're saying, she really means it because she has either gone through it or she's going through it. So we have those two things. The online support groups, we teach them about boundaries, which is
Mm.
very important.
Mhm.
So those are some things that we do with them. We also help some that have come out of the shelter, the battered women's shelter, and they're setting up their own apartments. We give them some things to help them to set up their own place, and we are available if they need to call for a word of encouragement or if they need to be connected to some other form of resource. We are available to do that. And sometimes they are looking for a place to worship.
Mhm.
We offer them that too. We don't browbeat them, but we
Mm.
offer it to them, and they know that we are a Christian um, organization. So they expect to hear something from the Bible, but we don't beat them up with it. Yeah,
Right.
That's
those
all.
are some things that we do.
Hmm.
And I know you all are a nonprofit. Um,
True.
so providing these services, helping them connect with other community resources and those types of things as well. Um, and I know, the breakfast I went to, Tony Porter and the Call to Men was very involved. And I know Call to Men is not your organization, but can you just tell the people a little bit about Call to Men? I think Call to Men is pretty cool itself too.
It is. It is. You're correct. And I love Tony. Tony has always been supportive of us. And I love what they're doing. A Call to Men is an organization that works primarily with men, but not totally. They have women that are involved with them, but they teach men about healthy manhood.
Mm.
The whole premise is so they're more on the prevention end of it because men have been socialized to look at us as objects, as piece of property. And that's something that society has done. So a call to men works with men and boys to teach them what healthy manhood looks like and teach them how to love and respect us as equals, not as objects. Um, and they do a great job at that. Um, I have nothing but love and respect for Tony and his organization, and they do a great job with working with men, teaching them how to be men and to come out of that what they call the male box,
Hmm.
the man
And
box. Yeah,
and
Man.
that
the man
was so
box.
dynamic about the breakfast is that you had the two organizations together where you had this preventive piece and then you also had this restorative piece. um, for people who actually been, and it was just very eye opening in terms of some of the things that, and in even some of the people that were sharing their story that I knew that you didn't know they had gone through the situation. And um even tonight as I sent out the email, um is I got responses back. People were replying saying, hey, the one gentleman, he's got a whole song that he does that is for domestic violence, and anyone who downloads it, so much of it goes to support organizations to help. But so it's a lot there, and it's such a widespread um, problem that I just, like I said, I just wanted to see some light shed on it and to bring some awareness. And I know you have Derek Jackson from Concord Taste Buds said, after Jake, he said, it's so dangerous if you do not know the purpose of a thing, a person, you'll always misuse or abuse it or them. And so, and that's the whole abuse thing. And it, like I said, for me, it kind of really just kind of floored me. I was just like, to hear some of the stories was pretty powerful and moving.
And it's always good. I mean, we can hear the statistics and hear the numbers, but to put a face with something
Mm-hmm.
always makes it more powerful and impactful. And people were able to do that at the breakfast.
Mhm.
There were people there who had gone through it, and you could actually see and touch them. So
And
that
feel that
makes it
emotion.
real.
Feel that emotion. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Well,
Right.
was that
Yes.
the first breakfast you had done, or was it something that's coming back? Um, you know, Kind of went away during COVID and come back, or was it the first time?
Tony and his organization have they've done breakfasts before. This is the first time our two organizations had come together.
Got it. Got it.
Yes, yes. But that's the kind of thing that his organization does all the time.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yes.
So let me ask you this, Rev Marguerite. If someone is watching tonight, I want to do two things. I want to put out a public announcement, right? If someone's watching tonight and they know someone or them themselves are being abused, um, i- is there a number? Is there something where they can go to, right? Is there where do we direct them? And number two, if someone wants to support your organization in terms of even financially or with time, talent, or treasure, how does that happen?
Okay. The National Helpline for Domestic Violence is 1-800-799-SAFE. 1-800-799-SAFE. And that number, you call that number, and they can connect you nationwide with help. If someone's listening that's not in our area, then they can still use that number and get help. For us, our website is www.beaut, the number 4, ASHESMIN, and our phone number is 980-474-1472. That's our website. So you can connect with us via our website. We're also on Facebook and Instagram.
Mm.
We haven't reached the area where Tony is yet.
Well, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't. Yeah.
But we are on Facebook and Instagram. Yes. So you can reach us there. Thank you so much, Tony.
Yes.
Well, I just wanted to. I'm trying to. Oops, I was trying to. I don't know why it says that new tab there or whatever. That's why I'm trying to do something instead of having the technician do it. I need
Right.
the technician to let him do what he's doing.
Yeah.
But I don't know what it's doing. So it's doing something crazy. But anyway, so like I said, I did want to just do what we could to bring some attention to it and to just make sure. Am I freezing up on you guys or am I okay? Okay.
We're
Um,
good.
I'm like it was doing something kind of weird over here in the comments area. I don't know what's going on over there, but just wanted to bring some attention to it. And and if someone wants or needs help or someone wants to help in the situation, just wanted to just bring that awareness. Because like I said, I had, there we go. See, we got the professional on it. He's got it trolling now. There we go. But I just wanted to do that. I just felt moved to do it. And
Funny.
I know that I have people even in my family that have been victims and that type of thing. And so it's just important. And I think that's what we as the body of Christ is about. We all do our part to bring awareness, to bring change, to make the world a better place. And so I'm just happy that we were able to, between my traveling and people who are already invited to be guests, that we were able to get it in. Still, it was the last day of the month, but we got it in. We got it in for October. And I thank you
Yes.
so much for taking the time out to be with us and to share. And so God bless the work that you're doing. Have a whole nother level of respect for the Beauty for Ashes ministry. So thank you.
Thank you. And I want to say too, we work with survivors, but we're also available to do training. Would love to get in some of these places of worship and do some training with the spiritual leaders as well as the congregants so that they can be better equipped to help the victims that are in their pews.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Well, and that's a whole nother situation, right? It's a whole nother situation because oftentimes, especially in our community, I think we have a stigma about getting help, getting counseling,
Getting help.
and even this. I mean, and then sometimes we turn to the church, and the church is not always equipped to handle those things.
Right.
And so I think that's a very important point. I'm glad you mentioned that.
And we are blessed at Mount Carmel that we have a pastor that gave the green light to start a ministry there, and he speaks openly against domestic violence.
He does. He does speak very openly. And the other thing is he speaks as a proponent for getting counseling and that type of thing. And you don't find that at every church. And so we are blessed in that way. You're absolutely right. So shout out to Mount Carmel. So listen, everyone, thank you for joining us tonight. I know it's a little bit of a heavy topic, but just one that is important. And we thank you for tuning in. If you are not already subscribing to our YouTube page, please do that so you'll get notified when we have our show goes live. You'll be notified when we post the shorts and those type of things and all that. And also just want to remind everyone, the other thing that I didn't mention earlier is that October is also Financial Planning Awareness Month. And so if you have not sat down with me, it is a great idea to sit down and we can just have a conversation and see if you're on track, if it's something that we can help you with. If not, we might be able to point you in the right direction. So to do that, you simply go to TonyJacksonAppointment.com go to the website, Real Money Coach. I'm not hiding. You can find me somewhere and schedule an appointment. So I'm even on TikTok now, y'all. You look for the Real Money Coach on TikTok. Can you believe it, Michelle? Michelle, I went from zero social media to like
I know.
up with all this stuff, right? So it is crazy. It is crazy. But I love what I do, and I love you all. Have a wonderful night, and we'll see you next week. Next week, Michelle, we have Nicole
Triplet.
Nicole Triplet is going to be our guest next week. She is Michelle. She's the founder of the Black Wall Street in Kalamazoo, Michigan.
Yep, Kalamazoo Black Wall Street.
Kalamazoo Black Wall Street. So she will be our guest next week, and we look forward to having another great show.
Yeah.
So with that, everybody, have a wonderful night.
Good night, and thank you again.
Thank you.